Rethink, Rewind, Review. On December 13th to January 1st, Mercury is going to station retrograde. Now, Mercury stationing retrograde is going to be prompting this brief reevaluation period of your long-term goals and what you are building in this world. What do you want to leave behind? Is what you're working towards still in alignment with your values? There will be topics around your career, your vocation, what is your public image. It's going to be more of a focus with you in the spotlight. With Mercury reversing its way back through the sky, you might find yourself rethinking some of your endeavors and your projects that you've been slowly building upon. Are you satisfied with what you've been establishing? If not, this is going to be the perfect time for you to pull back on the drawing board and reevaluate these things. Since Capricorn is ruled by the planet of Saturn, it represents boundaries, restriction. It represents limitations, challenge, and karma. Saturn is the Lord of time. It is the concept of time. Is it passing you by? Do you have enough of it? Are you taking advantage of it? You may not feel very flexible when it comes to making changes to your plans. If anything, you might find that the only thing that needs changing is your mindset. Self-discipline is going to be essential for you at this juncture of your life. Capricorn is also associated with your past and history. So think about the systems and structures that you have in your life in place. Are they updated or have they outstayed their welcome? Welcome, I'm your astrologer, Patricia Tate, and this is your December 2023 Mercury Retrograde Astrology Forecast. So let's dive in. So Aries Sun and Aries Rising. This upcoming retrograde cycle, it begins with a blend of energies. It's starting with Mercury stationing retrograde with a trine in Jupiter, and it's going to be concluding with a conjunction to Mars and square to Neptune. So Mercury is currently in your 10th house. The 10th house for you is your career, your legacy, your job, your focus on your reputation, how you're seen in the outside world, how your peers see you. It's about you being in the public's eye, leaving a legacy behind. Now, Mercury is going to be trine Jupiter. Jupiter is in your second house of your cash, your property, your real estate, your money, your finances. A trine is a beautiful flow of energy where the planets are working together. So it's going to start with this, and then it's going to end with Mars square Neptune. As we navigate this cycle, it's going to be offering you this opportunity for reassessing your beliefs and scrutinizing the purpose behind your actions. Mercury retrogrades, they're a time to slow down, to be mindful of your communication, and to make the necessary revisions in a specific area of your life. And for you, this is going to start off with your career, and then it's going to backtrack into your house of education, foreign people, places, things. This is the house of publishing. Mercury in your 10th house can have you going back over things that have to do with work, promises that you've made, projects that you're working on. This could be professional goals. This could be you're up for a review, or that people that are higher up will see you and want to discuss some things with you. Because it's trine to your second house, I really see this as you are looking to improve your finances. Now, as we approach, I want to move to December 22nd. On December 22nd, we're going to have the sun meeting up in the sky with Mercury. The sun represents your identity, your self-expression, it's your leadership, it's authority figures, it's your path, it's your spirit. And when it meets up with the planet of communication, travel, networking, when they meet up in the sky, it's called a cazimi, and it's when Mercury is sitting in the heart of the sun, right next to the sun. It strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. So the sun is now going to add some communication abilities that you're going to want to go back over and re-talk or revamp or renegotiate some things for yourself. Now, at this time, expect messages, downloads, innovative information to come from a variety of ways. During this cazimi, it's going to be a turning point in the Mercury retrograde story, because I want you to focus on your attention on topics and conversations with people that you come in contact with on this date, because later it can lead to breakthroughs. So you are going to be going back over some things that have to do with your job, your career, promotions, negotiations, and then there's going to be this moment of clarity. Then we're going to move back the very next day on December 23rd. Mercury now shifts into the sign of Sagittarius. Now the whole energy changes. Mercury is now going to be in a square with the planet of Neptune. So as soon as it enters, this is going to be this prolonged square with foggy Neptune. Squares, they're these tense angles that cause conflict, where you have to work through and integrate with conscious effort and hard work of what you are doing in order for it to move forward with. So we have Mercury, how you're communicating, wanting to travel, wanting to work with people that like cross-cultural experiences. The ninth house is legal matters. It's where you have things published. It's where you take classes and workshops. It's where you teach things. It's where you connect with the outside world. It is in a square with Neptune in your 12th house. The 12th house is the hidden house. It's the house of your subconscious mind. It's your private inner world. It's where we seek out our guides, our following our dreams and our intuition. But the 12th house is also hidden enemies and self-sabotage. And so having to work through these tense angles. Mercury retrograde, they're a time to revisit and revise, and so it's still focused on your career, but now it's, do I have to go back and take that class? Do I take that workshop? What did I miss? I don't understand this. Neptune is foggy. So during this portion of the retrograde, it might feel like things for you are just like off or feeling wonky. You're not thinking clearly. At this point of the Mercury retrograde, it's going to be a time that you're going to want to review some things that have to do with work, reviewing recent projects or occurrences, and assess maybe where you've gotten ahead of yourself. Look to where Mercury first moved into the sign of Sagittarius and say, where did I bite off more than I could chew? Was it something with a legal matter, or I wanted to have something published, or I had these dreams and I had these hopes and I really wanted to get all this stuff done and I wanted to travel here, and now I feel stagnant. Now I feel stalled. Now I have to go back to the drawing board. Having first moved through the sign of Sagittarius, this will be an opportunity to reflect on these events, reflect on your communication, reflect on projects, everything from the past few weeks. Now you're looking for this fresh perspective. This retrograde shift is going to it's going to provide you with this invaluable opportunity to decelerate and to meticulously scrutinize your projects and your endeavors, so you can strategize and be more deliberate in your path to move forward, to restart something, to go back, go over it again, and start again, and this time better. Then, as we move forward to December 27th, on this day, we have Mercury conjunct Mars. Now Mercury, thoughts and ideas and communication and travel, reversing, going back through classes and workshops and people that you're meeting, now connecting up with Mars. Mars is the warrior. Mars is initiative. Mars is fire and passion. And so this is hot communication. This is speaking before I'm thinking. This is going to be where you're going to be wanting to say things or act out where you just don't have all the information. You need to be thinking about it before you move forward. Remember, now both of these planets are in a square to Neptune in your 12th house. This could be hidden enemies. This could be unclear information. This is my intuition is like off, or it's not. I'm getting mixed signals about what is going on here. And so watch the words that you say at this time. If you move forward with something It's a necessity to move forward with. Make sure that you read and you understand all the details. Triple check anything of importance before signing off or pushing that send button. With Mercury square Neptune, it is best to really put off as many important decisions and projects until after Mercury goes direct and moves back into the sign of Capricorn. This is a time where you're going to go back and review the material before you're ready to move forward again, because there could be typos. There's something wrong with the document. There's something wrong with the contract. There is something wrong with the final product that needs to be fixed before you move on. So Aries, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out Astrology forecasts for specific videos and major transits. I invite you to join me live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for a private reading, you can schedule at willowgraceastrology.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Taurus Sun and Taurus Rising, Mercury is now stationing in your 9th house. The upcoming retrograde cycle, it begins with a blend of energies. That it begins with it stationing retrograde with a trine to Jupiter, and Jupiter is in your 1st house of self. I love this because Jupiter is this expansive planet. It's about making everything bigger, brighter, better. And it's in your 1st house of yourself, your identity, how you see yourself, your appearance, your expression, your habits. I consider the 1st house to be like your business card or your website of what you want other people to see or how they see you. And so Mercury is communicating all of this. It's concluding then with a conjunction to Mars squaring Neptune at the end. So we're starting off with this positive aspect, and then we're throwing in the difficulty. As we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you an opportunity for reassessing your beliefs and scrutinizing the purpose behind your actions. Remember that your 9th house, it's the house of publishing. It's cross-cultural experiences. It's taking classes and publishing classes, workshops, programs. It's the house of travel. It's the house of, this is the house of adventure and where you want to go out and do things. And Mercury stationing retrograde has you going back over these things. Like, I wanted to travel here, my tickets are lost, or I'm arriving late, or I've missed part of my notes, or the class, there's something wrong with it. Now, Mercury retrogrades, they're just a time that we need to slow down, that we need to be mindful of all of our communications and our travel. We need to make them necessary revisions in this area of your life with going back to that class to make sure that did I miss something. So then as we move forward on December 22nd, so on December 22nd, we have Mercury conjunct the Sun. Now, when they meet up at the same point in the sky, it's called a cazimi, or they call it when the Mercury is in the heart of the Sun. So it's about the Sun, meaning you, your identity, your soul's expression, leadership, your path, your spirit. It's how you are presenting yourself. It's the word is, and Mercury is, it's about strengthening your communication abilities. So on this day, expect messages, downloads, receiving this innovative information in a variety of ways. I would make note of people, places, and things that you are meeting or coming in contact with on this day, because during a cazimi, this is going to be the turning point of your Mercury retrograde story. Be sure to focus your attention on topics and conversations and people that you come into contact with on this date, because it can lead to breakthroughs later. You might not notice that this is exactly the moment or what I'm supposed to be paying attention to, but as time goes on, you're going to realize that you came into contact with that person for a reason, or the information that you got was for a reason. Then I want to move forward a day. On the very next day, on December 23rd, Mercury is now moving into the sign of Sagittarius. The energy completely shifts. Sagittarius is fiery and passionate. When Mercury retrogrades back into the sign of Sagittarius, it immediately enters this prolonged square with the foggy planet of Neptune. Neptune is dreams and illusions and what I want to happen, and having the faith and hope and belief. It's in your 11th house of your dreams, your networking ability, who you see with, who you network with at work or at home for pleasure. The 11th house is where you have your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your aspirations, and who you connect up with, like kindred spirits, or where you connect up with peers. So now we have this conflict. Mercury is now going back into your 8th house of your shared resources. The 8th house is it's where you have contracts that are binding with other people. The 8th house is your joint ventures. It's the house of birth and death and rebirth. It's the house of transformation, and it's taboo topics. And so think about any contracts or any financial obligations that you share with other people. This could be debt or wills, alimony, child support, anything that you would, this could be like a prenup. It could be, it covers all contracts. This is the house of contractual obligations that you share with other people. So Mercury going retrograde has you rethinking this, because it's a square. Squares are these tense angles that they're 90 degrees, and it's about conflict that needs to be worked out. It needs to be integrated with conscious effort and hard work. So you have to work out what are the contracts, or what are these obligations that you have with people, and what are your hopes, your dreams, your goals, and the people that you network with. Something has to give within this. Yes, it's going to require hard work and effort. Ideally, Mercury retrogrades, they're a time for you to revise, and a time for you to revisit some of these topics. And so there will be no topics that are left off the table. This is about bringing forth everything and saying, we need to hash this out. We need to talk about this. During this portion of the retrograde, it might feel like things are, I'm just going to say tense or off kilter or a little wonky, because you're just not thinking clearly. Neptune is foggy. It's unclear. It is, it's dreamy, but it's in a tense aspect. So it's not having all of the information that you need. At this point of the Mercury retrograde, it's a time for you to review these recent projects, these recent occurrences that you have, these contracts that you are working with or share with other people. These could be marital partners or business partners, or familial, as in a will or something, that money or resources that have been passed down, or debt that is similarly owned, like for credit cards. So you're going to be reviewing these recent projects, these occurrences, and you're going to assess where you might have gotten ahead of yourself. When Mercury first went through the sign of Sagittarius, there were these high hopes and these beliefs, and now we have the sobering Mercury retrograde going back over, and it's about maybe you bit off more than you can chew under this transit. It's an opportunity to reflect on these significant events and your communications and these projects or these contracts that you have signed with other people. The 8th house is also the house of sex, and it's also the house of insurance. It's the house of inheritances, wills. So all of these topics are going to be where you're going to want to go back. Like, do you need to rewrite your will, or is somebody's will being separated between you and somebody else? This is an opportunity to say, all right, this is not doable. What is? And now I need a fresh perspective in order to move on. This retrograde will provide you with this invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize your projects, these papers, these contracts that you've had, and any endeavors, and to strategize a more deliberate path for yourself as you move forward. And then as we move to December 27th, so on December 27th, we are going to have Mercury meet up in the sky with Mars. Now, Mercury, thoughts, ideas, communication, and travel, going backwards over those topics that we've just discussed, in a square with Neptune. So it's foggy, it's unclear with Mars. This means hot communication. This means fiery tempers. This is you speaking out when you don't have all the information to move forward. So I'm using kind words when I say use caution with what you say and you do at this time, because you're acting before having all of the correct information. If you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read and you understand all the details. Triple check anything of importance before signing off or pushing that send button. With Mercury squaring Neptune, if it's at all possible, put off any important decisions and projects until after Mercury goes direct and moves back through Capricorn. So Taurus, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out my monthly astrology forecast, and I invite you to join me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for a private consultation, you can reach out to and schedule at willowgracemystic.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Gemini Sun and Gemini Rising, Mercury is your chart ruler. So whenever it stations retrograde, it's always really important to you. So Mercury is stationing retrograde in your 8th house of shared resources. The 8th house is the house of birth, death, rebirth. It's the house of taboo topics. It's the house where we have shared resources, either with a business partner or with a significant other, or a marriage partner, or somebody that you have divorced and maybe there's children involved. It could also be alimony, child support, or a will or money that that's going to be passed down from generation to generation. So this upcoming retrograde cycle, it's going to begin with a blend of energies. It's going to begin with Mercury stationing retrograde, and there's going to be this trine to Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is in your 12th house. This is the house of your intuition. It is the house of your spirit guides, the Akashic records, your personal unconscious. It's also the house of self-undoing, but Jupiter is here protecting you and offering you these benefits. It's about, I need rest and retreat, and I need to know the truth. I need to have the facts about some things, and what do I tune into to get that information? And so it's going to end or conclude with a conjunction to Mars and square to Neptune. So as we're navigating this cycle, it's going to offer you an opportunity to reassess your beliefs with your contracts that you share with other people, or it'll have you reassessing who you share these resources with, and the people that you have these deep connections with. Remember that they can be marriage partners, business partners, but they're people that we have these deep bonding experiences with, and so it can be family. You're going to have this opportunity to reassess your beliefs, to scrutinize your purpose behind all of your actions. Mercury retrogrades, they're always this time to slow down, to be mindful of communication and travel, and to make the necessary revisions in a specific area of your life. And for you, this has to do with like wills or debt or contracts with other people. And then we move forward to December 22nd. So on the 22nd, the Sun and Mercury are going to be meeting up at the same point in the sky. It's called a cazimi. When Mercury sits in the heart of the Sun, it strengthens Mercury's communication skills. The Sun represents you and ego and identity, and it is bright, and it literally is magnifying everything that has to do with the communication of what is going on. It's shining a spotlight on this area of your life. when Mercury sits in the heart of the sun, it's strengthening Mercury's communication abilities. So expect messages or downloads or innovative information in a variety of ways. This can come through dreams, spirit guides, Akashic records. Maybe you do tarot, maybe you do astrology, maybe numerology. It could have to do with shamanic work. Remember that the 12th house is involved in it, so it could have to do with the spiritual realm. So pay attention to where you're getting this information. During this cazimi, it's going to be a turning point in your Mercury retrograde story. So be sure to focus on your attention on the topics, the conversation, and the people that you come in contact with on this date, because it can lead to breakthroughs later and an understanding with what is going on later. And then when Mercury, the very next day, moves back into Sagittarius, now we have a whole different flavor, a whole different fire. Mercury moving back into your 7th house is people that you, this could be old friends, this could be okay, the 7th house is your +1, so it's business partners, it's your significant other, it's your marriage partner, it's your best friends. The 7th house is anybody that you shared contractual promises with, or that you had this negotiation and cooperation. It could be open enemies, and it also can include exes. So Mercury going back into your 7th house, it is immediately going to form a square to Neptune in your 10th house of who are you as an authority figure? Who is an authority figure over you? When it enters into this prolonged square with Neptune, things become foggy. They become unclear. Squares are these tension points, are there angles that cause conflict that needs to be integrated and worked out with conscious effort and hard work. So there's something about a partner or a client or a significant other that has to do with authority, your work, your career, your job, or you being seen in the outside world. Now, ideally, Mercury retrogrades, they're a time for us to revisit, for us to revise. During this portion of the retrograde, it might feel like things are just wonky, or that they're unclear, they're foggy, that you're not able to work things clearly or think things clearly. At this point, it's going to be a time for you to review these recent projects and these occurrences and assess where have you gotten yourself like ahead of yourself with possibly working with specific clients, or going back and wanting to reconnect with an old friend or a significant other or a partner or a project. Remember that the 7th house is also signing of contracts. So this will be a time that you're going to reassess. Maybe this is not exactly the best thing that I should be doing at this time. Having first moved through the sign in Sagittarius in the recent weeks and squaring Neptune before, maybe you bit off more than you could chew. Maybe you need to reflect on these significant events, these communications, or these projects that you've had in the past few weeks, and look for a brand new, fresh perspective on this. This retrograde is going to shift and provide you with this invaluable opportunity to look back, stand back, and look at things differently, to meticulously scrutinize your projects, your partnerships, your business connections, your client connections, your friend connections. And it's going to have you strategize a more deliberate way in your path that you can move forward with what you want to accomplish. And then I want to talk about the 27th. As we move forward to the 27th, we now have a conjunction of Mercury and Mars. Now again, Mercury, thoughts, ideas, communication with exes, business partners, significant others, and in a square with Neptune, things are foggy. Now we throw in aggressive Mars. So this is hot, angry communication. This is, I don't have all the information, I don't have all the facts, but I'm fired up about it and I think I have everything. And so I'm encouraging you to move forward with caution. Use caution with your words at this time, because this could be with authority figures or a boss. This is angry energy with anybody who is of authority and just not being crystal clear on what's going on. if you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read, that you understand all of the details, triple check any contracts and the importance of it before signing off and pushing that send button. With Mercury squaring Neptune, it's really great if you could put off any important decisions and projects until after Mercury stations direct and moves back into the sign of Capricorn. So Gemini, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out the monthly astrology forecasts. I invite you to join me live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for an in-depth private reading of your chart, you can schedule at willowgraceastrology.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Cancer Sun and Cancer Rising, this upcoming retrograde cycle begins with a blend of energies, beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde in your 7th house. The 7th house of partnerships, significant others, your 1+1 house. This can be best friends. It could be your clients. It's anybody that you negotiate or you have contracts with. Now, it begins with Mercury retrograde, but it's in a trine to Jupiter. And Jupiter is in your 11th house of who you connect up with in order to move forward with what you want to manifest, your dreams, your goals, your hopes. It's who you network with, whether it be for work or whether it be for joy, but it's who you connect up with. This could be your sacred family. This could be kindred spirits. This could be co-workers that you meet with on a daily basis for a common goal. Now, when Mercury stations retrograde here, it's going to start with this gift of Jupiter, but then it's going to conclude with a conjunction to Mars and square to Neptune. And so as we navigate this cycle, it's going to be offering you this opportunity for reassessing your beliefs and scrutinizing the purpose behind your actions. So Mercury retrogrades, they're always this time to slow down and to be mindful of your communication and travel and make the necessary revisions in this area of your life with partners. And who do you trust? How much do you trust them? Who do you bring into, whether it be for clients or best friends? This is who is in your inner circle and who is in your court that will support you with where you're going. You are possibly going to be reconnected with some people. This could be reconnecting with an ex-friend or an old friend or somebody who has moved away. But remember, retrograde means I'm going to go back over it. So I am also, it could be going back over contracts. Now, as we move forward onto the 22nd, on the 22nd, we have a cazimi where we have the Sun and Mercury meeting up together at 0 degrees. 0 is like this anaretic degree of brand new, fresh beginning. They're meeting at the same point in the sky, and Mercury is sitting in the heart of the Sun, so it strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. Expect to receive messages, downloads, and this innovative information in a variety of ways from clients, business partners, significant others, good friends, anybody that you do business with, like on a daily basis. During this cazimi, this is also going to be a turning point in the Mercury retrograde story for you. Be sure to focus your attention on topics, conversations, and people that you come in contact with on this date, because it can lead to breakthroughs later that you can connect the dots to. I didn't realize how important this conversation was, or how important this person was. So then the very next day, we have Mercury stationing retrograde, but now it's moving into your 6th house. Now, your 6th house is the house of mental, physical, spiritual, psychological health, well-being. It's your service to others. It is your daily health of where you need to take care of yourself, and it's self-care, it's alternative health, it's pets, it's nutrition. So now Mercury going back into your 6th house, as soon as it goes back into Sagittarius, the energy changes. Sagittarius is fiery, it's passionate. It immediately enters into this prolonged square with foggy Neptune. Neptune. Neptune is hope and belief and faith, but squares are tension points. It's about an angle that forms a conflict that has to be integrated with conscious effort and hard work. Something has to give, and the energy has to be integrated for both to do well. So Neptune is in your house of learning and traveling and exploring and publishing and the law and connecting with people far and wide. And Mercury in your health sector is how do I make these things a daily habit? And I'm being confused by what I'm learning or what I'm studying or where I'm going, or I want to travel and I want to connect up with this person. And why is this not happening? So ideally, Mercury retrogrades, they're a time for you to revisit, to revise. However, during this portion of the retrograde, it might feel like things are off kilter or kind of feeling like wonky for you because you're not thinking clearly. Remember, Neptune is foggy. It is not having all the facts. At this point of the Mercury retrograde, it's going to be a time for you to review your recent projects and your occurrences and assess where you may have maybe gotten ahead of yourself with your daily health routine, or seeking out the assistance or from your guide or your mentor, or how much you can donate of your time. Having first moved through the sign in Sagittarius in recent weeks, you have already experienced the square before to Neptune, but now it's a feeling of maybe I bit off more than I can handle. I can't exercise this many times a week, or I don't have the time or energy to give to this project that I want. I have to find a balance between my home and my work. Something has to give. This is about I wanted to start something, the thought and the idea was there, but then Mercury's saying, this is not sustainable. You need to go back and you need to check yourself. So at this point, you're going to review your recent projects. You're going to go back and say, where did I get ahead of myself? Having first moved through here, I need you to reflect on these significant events, these communications or projects, and look for a fresh perspective of what is sustainable. This retrograde shift is going to provide you with this invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize your projects, your endeavors, and strategize more deliberately towards your path so you can move forward with success. And then I want to talk about the 27th. So on the 27th, Mercury, everything that's been going on here, and it's still foggy, it's still in this square to Neptune up here, so all of this is going on, we're still confused. Now we add this conjunction to Mars. So now I want you to think hot communication, anger. You don't have all the information to move forward with, and so I'm going to encourage you to use caution with your words, with your actions. This is speaking before thinking, and not having the facts to back it up, and then having, to eat crow later. If you move forward with something and you have to, please make sure that you read, that you understand the details, triple check anything that's of importance before you sign off or that you push that send button. Especially if it's an email and it's a cranky email, or calling somebody and leaving that message. Use caution. With Mercury square Neptune, it is really best to put off any important decisions or projects until after Mercury stations direct and moves back through Capricorn. So Cancer, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out the monthly astrology forecast videos. I invite you to join me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for a private consultation of your chart, you can schedule at willowgraceastrology.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Leo Sun and Leo Rising, Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde in your 6th house. So this upcoming retrograde cycle, it has this blend of energies. It's beginning with Mercury retrograde in your 6th house that has to do with your daily habits, your health, your well-being, your pets, everything that has to do with a balance between home and work and sickness and self-care and alternative health. And it is in a trine to Jupiter at the top of your chart. Trines are gifts, naturally easy, finding a blend in order to make this happen. So this is like easy with scheduling or finding a balance between your home and your work. Now, we're starting off with this, and then we're going to end with a conjunction of Mars square to Neptune. So as we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you an opportunity to really reassess your beliefs, to scrutinize your purpose behind your actions of finding a balance between home and work, staying healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, psychologically, taking care of pets, also with coworkers, and volunteering of where do you have the time to do this, and making sure that you are taking care of yourself before you're taking care of others, but finding time to do all of that. Now, Mercury retrogrades, they're a time for you to slow down, to be mindful of communication, especially with travel, writing, journaling, phone, email, text. That's when things get messed up. And it's having you make necessary revisions of your health sector of your life, of what do you need to do in order to make some things sustainable, in order for you to have good health. Does that mean having your vitamins mailed to your house because you're forgetting or don't have the time to go to the pharmacy or to the chiropractor to pick them up? Scheduling your online appointments ahead of time so that you have the time to get to them. Healthcare is going to be really important. So what are you doing to set aside time for yourself to make sure that your health is a priority? And that's just not your body, it's your mind and your spirit and your soul. And you have this beautiful trine to Jupiter in your 10th house of support from authority figures. Now, as we move forward on December 22nd, we're going to have the Sun meet up with Mercury. And so they're meeting up at the same point in the sky. There's this forming a cazimi. When Mercury sits into the heart of the sun, it strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. So expect messages, downloads, innovative information that can come from many different ways. This could be coming from a mentor, coming from a guide, coming from a coworker, coming from somebody that you do yoga with or you walk with. Remember that this is the house of health and well-being, and so receiving those messages are through your networking abilities of things that you will do in your daily life. Could also be from authority figures. So during this cazimi, it's going to be a turning point in your Mercury retrograde story. Be sure to focus your attention on topics and conversations and people that you come in contact with on this date, because it can lead to a breakthrough later. There will be people, places, and things that are like synchronistic at this time that you won't realize until much later down the road the importance of that moment was. Then the very next day, Mercury is now going to move retrograde back into your 5th house. So Mercury in your 5th house, now we are back into the house of joy, pleasure, children, childlike activities, art, music, creativity, taking risks, gambling, affairs, investments, sports. Mercury going back into your 5th house, the energy is now going to shift to more of fire and passion because it's Sagittarius energy. It immediately enters in with this prolonged square with foggy Neptune. Now, Neptune is in your 8th house of your shared resources. This is alimony, child support, your cash, your property, anything that is tied up or linked with somebody else. The 8th house is where we have these joint ventures, or where we have these opportunities for birth, death, rebirth, and transformation. And Neptune here is foggy. It is unclear. It's not knowing what's going on. Now, squares are 90-degree angles. They are these tense points. They're conflicts that need to be integrated with this conscious effort and this hard work. It's you need to do one thing, and this is a block. And how do you work through this? Not by ignoring. It literally has to be talked out, worked out, and put effort into it. Now, ideally, Mercury retrogrades, they're a time to revisit in order for you to revise. These could be contracts that you have with other people. The 5th house is children. It's also lovers. It's also creative projects. So what are your investments that you have tied up with other people? This could be people that business partners or significant others, marital partners, or it could be family members if you have like shared resources or shared property. So now during this portion of the retrograde, it might feel like things are a little wonky or unclear because you're not thinking clearly, because things are foggy, Neptune. So I want you to think back and review these recent projects that and these occurrences, and I take time to focus. Where have you maybe gotten ahead of yourself of what you wanted to do? And when Mercury first went through your 5th house of Sagittarius with something that has to do with your children, maybe you started something like, oh, I want to have a child, or something that involves my children, or with a partner, or with gambling, or with this property. The 5th house is the house of investments. And so, yes, I was gung-ho, I wanted to do this. Mercury stationing retrograde, squaring Neptune with your shared resources partner, has you rethinking this. And it's saying, this is not sustainable. You need to really go back. You need to rethink this. Don't get ahead of yourself. So take some time and say, what did I chew off? Did I bite off too much and I don't know what else to do? How do I fix this? Reflect on the significant events, these communications that you're having with other people, these projects from the past weeks. Look for a fresh perspective that is more fair, more equitable, more sustainable in order to move forward with. This retrograde shift is going to provide you with this invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize your projects, these endeavors, these contracts, and strategize a more deliberate way in your path for you to be able to move forward with. And then I want to bring your attention to December 27th. So on the 27th, make note of Mars connecting up with Mercury. Mercury conjunct Mars. Look, now your communication, which was already foggy, and you were already trying to work these things through, and there's already this square, this tension point. Once Mars comes into this is hot communication. This is anger. This is, I don't have all the information and I don't know that, but I'm frustrated by it, and this is what I have to say about it. And so I'm encouraging you to move forward with caution, use gentle and kind words, and try to pull back as much as possible. Because if you move forward with something, make sure that you read, that you understand the details, triple check anything that's of importance before signing off, or pushing that send for the email, or leaving that voicemail, or having that confrontation with somebody. Look, it's really best if you put off all important decisions on these projects or these contracts until after Mercury stations direct and moves back in through Capricorn. All right, so Leo, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out the monthly astrology videos, and join me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for an in-depth private reading of your chart, you can schedule at willowgracemystic.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Virgo Sun and Virgo Rising, Mercury is always important to you. It affects your first house of self, and it affects your career. So whenever it stations retrograde, it's always throwing a monkey wrench into things. Now, for this upcoming cycle, Mercury is going to be in your 5th house of fun, pleasure, joy, investments, children, art, music, creativity. And it's going to bring this blend of energy of beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde in this beautiful trine to Jupiter in Taurus. And trines are this ease and grace of this is what I want to do, and their planets are working together. Your 9th house is the house of I want to travel here, I want to meet with these people, I want to teach this class, I want to take this workshop, I want to have this published, I want to have these cross-cultural experiences, I want to dive into spirituality and learning. Mercury stationing retrograde in your 5th house could have you going back over that class, going back over that workshop, diving into something else, or going back into it for a second look at it. Now, it's going to start with this blend of this trine with ease and grace, and then it's going to end with a conjunction of Mars and square to Neptune. So As we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you an opportunity to reassess your beliefs. It's going to offer you the ability to scrutinize the purpose behind your actions of moving forward with things that you're creating, projects that you're creating, things that have to do with children, or tapping into your inner child. It's the fifth house is your recreation. It's things that you do for pleasure and joy. And being boosted by Jupiter is wanting to travel, wanting to explore, wanting to do these things. Now, Mercury retrograde is saying that you need to slow down. You need to be mindful of all your communication and be in the moment. Remember that it's communications, travel. Make the necessary revisions in this area of your life to just slow down and go back over some of these topics. This could be maybe you've started a project or started, let's say that you were working on an art project or something that had to do with music. This will have something to do with what brings you pleasure, and it could have to do with children. It's always about recreation and risk and excitement and pleasure and joy, and it'll have you going back over and fine-tuning and tweaking it. Now on December 22nd, the Sun and Mercury, they're going to be meeting up in the sky at the same point, and they're forming a cazimi. Now, when Mercury sits into the heart of the Sun, it really strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. The Sun represents you, your soul, your identity, and Mercury is the way that you're communicating. At 0 degrees is an anaretic degree of a new beginning, a fresh start. And at this same point in the sky, it's about offering you these messages, these downloads, innovative information that comes in a variety of ways. During this cazimi, it's going to be a turning point in your Mercury retrograde story, so be sure to focus your attention on topics, conversations, people that you come in contact with on this date, because it can lead to breakthroughs later. Something that could happen on this date can come up later, and the importance of it will be known then. Then the very next day, we're going to have Mercury station back into your house of home. So when Mercury now moves into your house and home, the energy is completely different. It enters into this prolonged square with foggy Neptune squares. Now squares, they're these tension points. They're tense angles that cause conflict. It's about having to talk out or work out or integrate with conscious effort and hard work. Neptune is in your 7th house of your partners, your relationships with significant others. This could be business partners, marital partners, best friends, significant others, one-on-one clients. So there's going to be something that's going to be of a conflict that has to do with your partner or your +1 house, and something that has to do with home, family, roots, foundation. Now, ideally, Mercury retrogrades, they want us to revisit, to revise. These are about traditions and your foundation of who you are and what do you want to do with your home, or what is home to you. Now, during this portion of the retrograde, it may feel like things are a little like off kilter or wonky because you're just not thinking clearly. At this point of the Mercury retrograde, it's going to be a time to review these projects or these occurrences that have to do with partners and home, family, these traditions, these things that you that make up your foundation of who are you or what is important to you. And then you have to say, I need to review these recent projects. I need to review these occurrences, and I have to say, where did I get ahead of myself? When Mercury first went through Sagittarius in the recent weeks, it was square Neptune, but it was going forward. And so now maybe you've just bitten off more than you can chew for what does home look like, with what do you want to do at home, or people in your home, or traditions, and how does this conflict with family? How does this conflict with a significant other or friends, or your work partner, or your clients, or contractual promises that you have ongoing. Now, this retrograde shift is going to give you this invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize these projects that you've been working on, these endeavors, to strategize a more deliberate way or path for you to move forward with things to make them more sustainable for partnership and at home. And then I want to bring one more date on December 27th. So know that all of this is going on. And then I want you to notice on December 27th, Mars is now meeting up in the sky with Mercury. So you have all this confusion. Things are foggy. The communication is unclear between you and your business partners and your clients and your significant other and the people at home. And like, what is really going on here? And then we throw Mars in. Now, Mars is aggressive, and now it's hot communication, hot words, where you just don't have all the information to move forward with, but you're just still going to say it. You're still going to do it. So I'm going to encourage you to use caution at this time so you don't say something or do something that later on you regret because you don't have all the information, or the information that you have is not correct. If you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read, that you understand all the details, triple check anything of importance before signing off or publishing that send button, or leaving a message on somebody's phone, or having the work done in the home. With Mercury square Neptune, it's really best to put off all important decisions and projects until after Mercury stations direct and moves back into Capricorn, to where everything in your home front can be settled, and then Mercury can be moving on, and you'll have more of a stable connection with business partner, significant other, or friends. All right, so Virgo, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out my astrology monthly forecasts on major transits. I invite you to join me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for an in-depth reading, you can schedule at willowgraceastrology.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Libra Sun and Libra Rising, the upcoming retrograde cycle begins with a blend of energies, beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde in your 4th house of home, family, your foundation, your roots. It's about traditions. It's about people who live in your home with you. And it's in a beautiful trine with Jupiter. Jupiter is in your 8th house of your shared resources. It's the house of where we connect with others, that we have these joint ventures, or that we have these obligations of alimony, child support, debt. It could be wills. It's people that you have contracts with, that could be a business partner, a significant other, or a family member, if it is like a will. So it's going to start off with a beautiful trine, allowing flow to work through Mercury, the way that you're talking and communicating and things that you want to do with these shared resources. And then it's going to back up and conclude with a conjunction to Mars and square Neptune. So as we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you this opportunity to truly reassess your beliefs, to scrutinize the purpose behind your actions, of what you want to do, where you want to move forward with, and make these necessary revisions in this area of your life of what do you want at your home? What do you want it to look like? Who do you want in your home? What traditions do you want? How does this help you build your family, your personal life, the foundation? Remember, the 4th house is also real estate. It's property. It's a connection with people who feel like family or who are family to you. As we move forward to December 22nd, on December 22nd, we're going to have the Sun and Mercury connected together. They call this a cazimi. This is when they meet up in the sky. Mercury sits in the heart of the Sun, and it strengthens Mercury's communication. The Sun is your soul's representation, or it's your soul's expression. It's your identity. It's your ego. And Mercury is how you communicate. And it's going backwards. It's retrograding. It's going within with reassessing some things in your life. So when they meet up at the same point in the sky, it strengthens the communication. Your these abilities to get information. So expect messages, downloads, innovative information coming from a variety of ways. This could be from ancestors. This could be diving into something that has to do with your ancestry. This could have something to do with your children or older adults. Now, during this cazimi, it's going to be this turning point in the Mercury retrograde story. Be sure to focus your attention on topics and conversations with people that you come in contact with on this date, because it can lead to breakthroughs later, like somebody that you could have this conversation with, or mail or email or some type of a communication on this date could make sense later as a pivotal experience that you didn't know was going to be so important for later on. Now, the very next day, we're going to have Mercury move into the sign of Sagittarius. Now, this is your third house of communication. The third house is your siblings, your neighbors, your cousins, short distance travel. It is connecting with people who you talk and exchange with on a daily basis. So that's close to you, whether it be at home or at work. So now that Mercury has moved back into fiery Sagittarius, it immediately enters into this prolonged square with foggy Neptune. Now, Neptune is in your sixth house of mentors, guides, the house of how do I balance my home and my work. I need to take care of my health. It's my daily habits. It's my well-being. Now, squares. Squares are these tense angles that cause conflict, and they need to be integrated. And it's about using conscious effort and hard work in order to work through and transform the energy. It's not about just forget it and ignore it. It's no, we have to address this and we have to bring it up now. Neptune is foggy and unclear, and Mercury is, I don't have all the information. I'm really trying to move through this, and I'm feeling a little tense about this because I don't have all the facts as I move through this. Now, ideally, Mercury retrogrades. They're a time that we revisit, revise, rethink, redo. The third house is classes and workshops and all types of communication. And during this portion of the retrograde, it's going to feel like things are just like off kilter or wonky. You're just not thinking clearly. At this point of the retrograde, it's going to be a time for you to review your recent projects, your occurrences, classes or workshops that you've taken, or people that you've communicated with. This could be emails that you've sent or work that you have written down. When Mercury went through the sign of Sagittarius to begin with, you're now going to go back over those topics. And you need to look at it and say, well, maybe I bit off more than I could chew under this transit of I want to start a journal. I want to create a podcast. When Mercury was in Sagittarius the first time, it was shooting for the stars and these are the things that I want to do. And now that is not all manageable. And so it's fine-tuning and tweaking it. It's reflecting on the significant events, the communications, or the projects that you've had from the past few weeks and saying, I need to look at them with a fresh perspective. I need to go within. I need to reflect on this. The retrograde is going to shift your focus and give you this invaluable opportunity to be deliberate and meticulous and scrutinize these projects, these endeavors, the things that you're writing and saying and doing, and strategize a more deliberate path for yourself as you move forward. Then there's one more day on December 27th. So on December 27th, everything that we've been talking about with this unclear, foggy, miscommunication, I'm going back over my goals, these things that I've wanted to say and do and I believe in. And then we bring Mars into it. So Mars is fire and passion and going after things. So now I want you to think, this is hot communication. This is where you don't have all the information to move forward and you're just going to spew the words. This is anger or frustration, or I want this done. I want it done now. I want the information. And I'm encouraging you to use caution because Neptune is just not clear. This will have something to do with, it could have to do with your daily health and doctors and mentors and guides and the co-workers. So all of this together, use caution. This is going to be a short transit for the hot words, but it's inflammatory, and it means anger and fighting. So if you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read, you understand the details, you triple check anything that's of importance before you sign off, or you push send, or you leave that message. Because with Mercury square Neptune, it's really best to put off the important decisions in these projects until after Mercury stations direct and it moves back into the sign of Capricorn. So Libra, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out the monthly astrology forecast for each sign, and I invite you to join me live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for an in-depth private reading of your chart, you can schedule at willowgraceastrology.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Scorpio Sun and Scorpio Rising, Mercury is now going to be stationing retrograde in your third house. Now, the third house is who you communicate with on a daily basis. This is with your neighbors, your siblings, your cousins. It is who you share ideas, thoughts, email, phone, text. It's sharing, talking, exchanging ideas. It's also taking classes and taking workshops, and it's also short distance travel. So this upcoming retrograde cycle is going to begin with this blend of energies, beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde, and there's this trine to Jupiter. So Jupiter is in your 7th house of partnerships, your significant others, your clients, your 1+1 house. It is everybody that you would have contractual obligations with, or marriage partners. Remember that the 7th house is your one-on-one relationships. So this could be anybody that you have contracts with, that you come in contact with daily or on a one-on-one basis. And so a trine is this gift of, I'm going to go back over and maybe reach out to that client, or I'm going to reach out to this business partner, or reach out to this friend that I used to have, or reconnect with a significant other. That is Mercury retrograde at its best. And so we're beginning with that, and then we're ending and concluding with conjunction to Mars, which is square to Neptune. So as we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you this opportunity for you to reassess your beliefs, to scrutinize the purpose behind what are your actions. Mercury retrogrades, there are times for us to slow down, to be mindful of communication and travel, and for us to make these necessary revisions of a specific area of your life. And for you, this could be, I need to go back over my notes, I need to retake this class, I need to make sure that I'm touching base with family members, or I'm staying connected to neighbors. Now, as we move forward to December 22nd, on December 22nd, we have the Sun connecting in a conjunction with Mercury. They're at the same point in the sky, forming a cazimi. Now, when Mercury sits in the heart of the Sun, it strengthens Mercury's communications ability. So expect messages, downloads, and innovative information in a variety of ways. The Sun is your sole purpose. It is your identity. It's your ego. And so the Sun is bringing this epiphany, this idea, this thought, and it can come from a variety of ways. Now, during this cazimi, it is a turning point in the Mercury retrograde story. So be sure to focus your attention on topics, conversation, and people that you come in contact with on this date, because it can lead to major breakthroughs later that you just didn't understand the connection that you had, that the importance of the connection that you had with that person. All right, so then the very next day, we're going to have Mercury move into Sagittarius. Now, when Mercury stations retrograde, it moves, the flavor of it, the theme is going to be more fiery, more passionate, more expansive. It immediately enters into this prolonged square with foggy Neptune. Now, Neptune is in your 5th house of children, joy, creativity, art, music, where we want to take risks. And so Mercury in your 2nd house is your personal self-worth, cash, property, resources. And so now we have this square. Squares are tense angles that cause conflict that needs to be integrated with some conscious effort and hard work on your part. Ideally, Mercury retrogrades, there are these times that we want to revise or revisit. And so now you're going back to what is your cash? What are your resources? What is your possessions, your self-esteem, and what do you value? Has you taking a second look at your finances and is what you want to do with what brings you joy or children or childlike activities with creativity and art and these projects that you want to start. Is this sustainable? Now, Neptune, it's foggy. It is unclear. So during this point of the retrograde, it might feel like things are just like off kilter or wonky. You're just not thinking clearly. At this point of the Mercury retrograde, it's going to be a time for you to review these recent projects and occurrences and assess where you maybe have gotten ahead of yourself with where are you spending your money? Where are you investing? Where are you working on your finances, your resources, your salary, your skill set, your income, your work ethic, your attitude towards this. Mercury retrograde will have you really putting down your bills and putting down like a list of this is where my money is going and this is what's going out, and is this sustainable? Can I do this? So having it first move through the sign of Sagittarius in the recent weeks, and it was square Neptune before, maybe you started something before. Maybe you purchased something. Maybe you bit off more than you could chew under that first transit. And so now you're taking a second look at it. You're reflecting on these significant events, these communications, these projects that you have been working on over the last several weeks. And now you need to have a fresh perspective in order to move forward with. This retrograde shift is going to provide you with this invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize your finances, your money, your resources, these projects, these endeavors, and to strategize a more deliberate way for you to move forward with your path to financial freedom. Now, I want to bring one more date on the 27th. As we move forward onto the 27th, Mars is now going to be conjunct Mercury, meaning like they're both together at 24 degrees. And so you thought things were confusing before. Now we add Mars in. Mars is hot, fiery, passionate, and it can be angry. And so this is a lot of hot communication. So think anger and speaking before thinking, and where you just don't have all the information and you want to move forward, and now you have to use caution and you just don't have all the facts. And so if you have to move forward with something, I'm going to encourage you to make sure that you read, that you understand all the details, that you triple check anything of importance before you sign off and you push send or you leave that voicemail message. Because with Mercury square Neptune, it's really best that you put off the important decisions and the projects until after Mercury moves direct and gets into the sign of Capricorn. All right, so Scorpio, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out the monthly astrology forecasts and the videos that are specific to major transits. I invite you to join me live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for an in-depth private reading of your chart, you can schedule at willowgracemystic.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Sagittarius Sun and Sagittarius Rising, the upcoming retrograde cycle begins with a blend of energies, beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde in your second house of your personal resources, your cash, your property. It is everything that has to do with your money, your salary, your income, your work ethic, your financial condition. It is literally you pulling out where's all your money going? What are things that you value, your cash, your property? So it's going to begin with Mercury stationing retrograde, and there's this beautiful trine to Jupiter. Jupiter is in your sixth house of the balance between your home and your work. It is finding a mentor, finding a guide, being connected and being centered with mind, body, spirit. The sixth house is my mental, physical, spiritual, like health, well-being, and my daily service to other people and my daily habits. And so Mercury here is in this beautiful trine, and then it starts to go backwards, and it has me going back over where do I spend my money, and is it really important to do all this? And so it's going to conclude with a conjunction to Mars and square to Neptune. as we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you this opportunity for you to reassess your beliefs and to scrutinize the purpose behind all of your actions. Now, Mercury retrogrades, they are always a time for us to slow down, rewind, rethink, to be mindful of all of our communication and travel, and to make the necessary revisions in this area of your life. And for you, this is your personal finances. So it's going to start here, and then on December 22nd. So on December 22nd, Mercury now forms a cazimi. So it is now at the same point in the sky with the sun. So the sun represents your identity, your soul's purpose. It is you. It's your ego. And so when the sun meets up at the same point in the sky with Mercury, it forms a cazimi, which means that it's sitting in the heart of the sun. It strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. So expect your messages and downloads and these innovative information to come to you in a variety of ways. This could come through the mentor, the guide, through somebody that you talk to about your money, your finances. It could come from an authority figure, like that has to do with career or boss. Now, during this cazimi, it's going to there's going to be a point that this is a turning point for you with the retrograde story, and I want you to make sure that you focus your attention on topics, conversations, and people that you come into contact on this day, because later on you're going to find out that this leads to a breakthrough, that this one connection led to something important later on down the line. All right, so the very next day, Mercury now moves into the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius, different flavor, different theme, different temperament, different everything. Mercury in Sagittarius, it immediately enters into this long-term square with Neptune. Now, Neptune is in your fourth house of your home, your family, your roots, your foundation, your traditions. And Mercury is in your first house of self. And so now this has you going back over your personality, your appearance, your vitality, your habits, your strength. This is in a square. Squares are these tense angles that cause conflict that needs to be worked out, needs to be integrated with conscious effort and hard work. So something about you and something about home, it's foggy, it's unclear. It's, do you want to be doing this at home? Like, are the traditions what you want to do? Is your foundation what you want it to be? This square is about, I have to change something. Something has to be integrated with who I am and what is my foundation. Now, since Mercury is moving back into the sign of Sagittarius, this part of the retrograde, it might feel, it's definitely going to feel uneasy, uncomfortable. It's foggy, it's wonky. You're just not thinking clearly. And at this point of the Mercury retrograde, it's time for you to review these recent projects that you started and reassess maybe where you got ahead of yourself. When Mercury first went through your first house of self, this was how you were communicating, how you were telling people about yourself, your power, your identity, your self-expression. It could have been something with, I always say it's like your business card or your website. It's how people see you. And so how you were sharing information, maybe that's not, you want to reassess that. This is reviewing these things and saying, I got ahead of myself, and this is not really how I want to be portrayed, or this is not really how I want to look, or this is not really what I wanted to say. This is not exactly how I meant it to come out. And so there's this square with giving you this opportunity to reflect on these significant events, this communication between home and you, these projects that you've been working on in the past. This could be authority figures that have to do with home, people that feel like family, or anybody that's in your home or that you share a past with, or people that have shaped you. And so there's just this conflict that's going on with who are you and who are they, and how do we integrate with, like, what are the boundaries going to be? And so you're going to have this retrograde shift to provide you with this invaluable opportunity to be meticulous and scrutinize everything about what you say, how you say it, and strategize a more deliberate way for you to move forward in your path with presenting and sharing that information. And then on the 27th, I want you to notice that we now have Mars conjunct with Mercury together in your first house of self. So remember how we just talked about this foggy miscommunication going on between you and home and everybody that makes up your home, and your relationship with people from your past and people who feel like family? Well, now we add in Mars. So Mars is hot, it's fiery, it's the warrior, it's initiative. And so it's hot, angry communication. It's speaking and saying things before thinking about it, where you just don't have all the information and you're moving forward with lack of information. Neptune is obscuring or keeping some things from you. So I'm encouraging you to use caution before you say anything or do anything. If you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read, that you understand all the details. Triple check anything for the importance of before signing off and hitting that send button or leaving that angry voicemail or that email. With Mercury square Neptune, it's really best that you put off any important decisions and projects until after Mercury stations direct and moves back into the sign of Capricorn. So Sagittarius, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out the monthly astrology forecast and the videos that are specific to major transits. I invite you to join me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. And for an in-depth private reading of your chart, you can schedule at willowgraceastrology.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Capricorn Sun and Capricorn Rising, Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde in your first house of self. It's your identity. It is your self-expression, how people see you. I always say it's like your business card or your website. It's how you are presenting yourself to the outside world. It's your habits, your strength, your health, your demeanor, your temperament, your happiness. And Mercury is traveling and communication and how you share these ideas. So the upcoming retrograde cycle, it's going to bring with it this blend of energies that are going to be beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde, and it's in a beautiful trine with Jupiter. And Jupiter is in your fifth house of children or creativity and lovers and art and music and things that bring you pleasure and joy. It's the house of where we take risks. It's the house of creativity. And so a trine is this beautiful opportunity that the energies are going to flow and work well together. So it's going to start here, and then it's going to conclude with a conjunction to Mars and square to Neptune. So as we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you this opportunity to reassess your beliefs and to scrutinize the purpose behind your actions. Mercury retrogrades, they're always a time to slow down, rethink, revise, redo, and to be mindful of your communications and travel, and to make the necessary revisions in this area of your life. So this is you rethinking, how are you presenting yourself to the outside world? Then on December 22nd, so on December 22nd, the Sun and Mercury, they're going to meet up at the same point in the sky at 0 degrees. And they're going to be forming what's called as a cazimi. When Mercury sits in the heart of the Sun represents you. It's your identity. It's your soul's purpose. It is your ego. It's your path. It's your spirit. The Sun is in your first house of making up you. And Mercury is there both at 0 degrees. And so being in the heart of the Sun, it strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. So expect messages, downloads, innovative information in a variety of ways. This can come from other people that you come in contact with, or it can come through dreams and intuition, or spirit guides or animals or symbolism that you see, like feathers and coins and music. So during this cazimi, it's going to be a turning point of the Mercury retrograde cycle of your personal story. So be sure to focus your attention on the topics and conversation and the people that you come in contact with on this date, because it could lead to breakthroughs later. The things that happen on this date will manifest later, and then you'll realize the importance of that first initial contact, or that one thing that happened on that date. All right, so then Mercury, the very next day, Mercury is now going to retrograde back into your 12th house. When Mercury retrogrades back into your 12th house, it's a total energy shift. It's now fiery, it's hot, it's bigger than. When Mercury goes back into retrograde, it immediately enters into this prolonged square with Neptune. Now, Neptune is dreamy and foggy, but it's in your 3rd house of communication. Who you communicate with on a daily basis. This means neighbors, siblings, your cousins. This is anybody that you talk or exchange ideas, thoughts, emails with on a daily basis. And so it's the house of short distance travel and communication. And having Neptune here is going to make everything foggy. So it immediately it forms this square. Now squares, they're these tense angles that bring conflict that needs to be worked out and integrated with conscious effort and hard work. So there's something about that you want to keep hidden, something about your private side, something about your dreams, your intuition, the shamanic work, things that you want to do in private that need to be worked out with. Who do you share these thoughts and ideas with? How do you share these thoughts and ideas? Do you share everything with them? Are you limiting what you share with them? The 12th house is the house of affliction. It's where we go for rest and retreat. The 12th house is the Akashic records. It's tuning into my dreams, my intuition, all of that, but it's foggy. It's unclear because of the square to Neptune. So you're not quite sure of the information that you're getting. So during this portion of the retrograde, you feel like things are just off kilter. They're wonky. You are not thinking clearly. At this point of the Mercury retrograde, you're going to have to review these recent projects that you started. You're going to have to look at these occurrences and you're going to have to assess, where did you get off track? Where did you get ahead of yourself? When Mercury first moved through Sagittarius, there was something that you started and you had these great ideas. It could be diving into like a taboo topic like shamanic work or tarot or astrology or numerology or psychic intuition, and you had to withdraw. Or maybe literally this is the house where we go in for hospitals and where we go in for healing, like rehab or medical healing of some sort. So where did you get ahead of yourself and that you started something without having all of the information and enough scaffolding underneath you to make sure that you have a solid, healthy foundation? Now, having first moved through this sign, you started something and now it's time for you to reflect. You're going to be reflecting on the events, the communication, on projects. You're looking for a fresh perspective to move forward with. It doesn't mean that you're scrapping everything. It just means that there's going to be like a revise, a redo, a renew. The retrograde shift is going to provide you with this invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize your projects, your endeavors, and strategize a more deliberate path for you to move forward with. This is for mental, physical, spiritual, psychological health and well-being. Now, on the 27th, I want you to notice that on the 27th, we have Mars and Mercury both at 24 degrees. So all of this confusion is going on, all of this square with I'm saying these things, but I'm not hearing all the truth, or they're not understanding what I'm saying. And now we're going to throw Mars into this. Now, Mars is hot communication. It's anger. It's saying things without thinking. It is sending that email, hitting that send before thinking about it. And so I'm advising you to use caution during this hot communication time period where you just don't have all the information in order to move forward with, and it's on your part. And so if you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read and you understand all the details, triple check anything that's of importance before signing off or pushing that send button or leaving that voicemail. With Mercury square Neptune, it's really best that you put off the important decisions and the projects until after Mercury stations direct and it moves back into the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out my monthly astrology forecast videos. And I invite you to join me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. For a private consultation, you can schedule at willowgracemystic.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Aquarius, Sun, and Aquarius rising, we have Mercury in your 12th house. Now the 12th house is the hidden house. It's where we go for rest and retreat. The 12th house is our personal unconscious, our shadow self. It's our dreams, our intuition. It's the Akashic records. It is going within, using your intuition. It's also the house of institutions. It could be prison or hospital or rehab or retreat. Like I use it for like a rest and spiritual retreats. Like you can look at it either way. It's about taking care of yourself. So Mercury here is going to be this blend of energies, beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde in a trine to Jupiter. Jupiter is in your 4th house of home, family, traditions, roots, foundation. It is it's those people that shape you. It's your foundation. It is it could be real estate. It could be any of those things. But it's your personal life. And Mercury going retrograde through your 12th house has you thinking about following your dreams, your intuitions, and it's also about karma and traditional like traditional trauma that has been passed down from one generation to another. And so Mercury stationing retrograde, it's going to start with this beautiful trine of a gift and these opportunities, and then it's going to conclude with a conjunction to Mars to squaring Neptune. So as we learn to navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you an opportunity to reassess your beliefs, to scrutinize the purpose behind all of your actions as you move forward. Mercury retrograde is always a time to slow down, to be mindful of communications, make necessary revisions. And so this is going to be, are you setting enough time aside for your health, your well-being, for your dreams, your intuitions, so you can do well, for rest and retreat? All right, so then I want to talk about December 22nd. So part of this story, we move to December 22nd, and the Sun and Mercury are now meeting up in the sky at the same point, 0. It's an anaretic degree. It's amazing. It's forming a cazimi. When Mercury sits in the heart of the Sun, it literally strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. Mercury is the communication, and the Sun is your identity. It's your will. It's your soul's expression. It's who you are. And so together, it's strengthening the way that you're going to be able to communicate intuitively and outwardly. And so expect messages, downloads, innovative information in a variety of ways coming from your dreams, your ancestors, through the Akashic records, through tarot, through astrology, through numerology, through symbolism. Now, during this cazimi, this is going to be a turning point in your Mercury retrograde story. So be sure to focus your attention on topics and conversations and people that you come into contact with on this date, because it can lead to breakthroughs later. Oftentimes, things that happen on this date, we do not understand the significance of it until much later down the road. All right, so then the very next day, we have Mercury moving into Sagittarius. Now, when Mercury moves into your 11th house, this is the house of your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your goals, and who you network with in order to manifest these things. These can be coworkers, and these can be people that you meet up with that are like star family or kindred family, or they are work associates that you know, like peers, or that networks that you have these shared beliefs. So Mercury has now gone back from rest and retreat into your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your goals. Now, it immediately enters into this prolonged square with Neptune. This Neptune is in your 2nd house of your self-worth, your cash, your property, your personal resources, your talents, your skill set. And so a square is a tense angle that causes conflict, and it needs to be integrated with conscious effort and hard work in order to be worked out. It's when two planets are not working together and they have to blend it together. They have to work it out. It's like two siblings, work it out. And so when Mercury moves back into Sagittarius, we have this opportunity for things that have to do with your cash, your property, your self-worth, and your skill set with your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, and the people that you network with. Now, ideally, Mercury retrogrades, they're a time to revise, to revisit, and so you might be rethinking some of your goals. You might be rethinking the networks of people who you work with or who you align yourself with for your aspirations of what you want to do to move forward with. Now, ideally, this would be, I need to go back and I need to rethink and review, but during this portion of it, things are foggy, they're unclear, it's like wonky energy. You're not thinking clearly because of the square to Neptune. So it's going to be a time that you're going to review these recent projects, these occurrences, and you're going to assess, where did you get ahead of yourself? Where were your, like, you believed in it was too big, and you said, okay, I have to pare this down. That may be the end goal, but I have to have other goals to get me where I want to be. And so it's reassessing, what are your goals and who do you align yourself with in order to manifest those and to get those. So Mercury already moved through Sagittarius, and so you had some speed bumps along the way, and now as it's going back, it's giving you an opportunity to reflect on the significant events, for you to look back at these projects and now have this fresh perspective of, that is great, but that's not sustainable. I cannot do that over a longer period of time, and I have to think about what I can do for right now for me. So the retrograde is going to shift your perspective and provide you with this invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize your projects, your endeavors, your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your goals, and strategize a more deliberate path for you to move forward with. Now, I want to bring your attention to the 27th. On the 27th, we still have all of this energy going on, and now we introduce Mars. Now, Mars, you know, is fiery, passionate. It's the warrior. And so now we have hot, fiery, angry communication where you don't have all the information to move forward with. So I'm reminding you to use caution, because Neptune is making things foggy and unclear with your finances, your resources, your cash, your property, your self-worth, and the people that you are connecting with. And you don't have all the facts, and you're wanting to move forward. So if you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read, that you understand all the details, triple check everything that's of importance before you sign off and before you press send for that email or you leave that message on the voicemail. With Mercury square Neptune, it's really best that you put off the important decisions on the projects until Mercury goes direct and it moves back into the sign of Capricorn. So Aquarius, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out my monthly astrology forecasts. I also would love if you would join me Tuesdays live 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. For a private reading, you can schedule that at willowgraceastrology.com, and to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe. So for Pisces Sun and Pisces Rising, Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde in your 11th house. So this upcoming retrograde cycle begins with this blend of energies, beginning with Mercury stationing retrograde in your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your goals, the networks that you align yourself with, whether they are at work or for pleasure or for volunteering. Now, Mercury retrograde is also going to be trine to Jupiter. Jupiter's in your 3rd house of the way that you communicate. The 3rd house is the way that you communicate with on a daily basis with your neighbors, and this is siblings and cousins. It's taking classes and workshops, and it's people that you communicate and travel with on a daily basis. So Mercury stationing retrograde is going to have you going back over some of these thoughts, these ideas, these beliefs, these things that you've started. Now, we start off with this beautiful trine where things are not going to be that difficult to work with, and then we're going to conclude with a conjunction to Mars squaring Neptune. And as we navigate this cycle, it's going to offer you this opportunity to reassess your beliefs, to scrutinize the purpose behind all of your actions. So Mercury retrogrades. Mercury retrogrades, they're a time to slow down, to be mindful of your communication, for travel, for email, phone, text, and to make these necessary revisions in this area of your life. And for you, this is having you go back and say, What are my goals? What are my hopes? What are my wishes? What are my dreams? What are my beliefs? What are these peers or teams or networks that I belong to, and are they benefiting me? Am I in the right place, or do I need to change some of them? Do I need to change some of my goals? Have I finished some of my goals? Do I need to fine tune and tweak these networks, my social circles of where I spend my time? Now, on the 22nd, as we move forward, so on the 22nd, the Sun and Mercury, they're going to be meeting up in the sky at the same point. They're forming a cazimi. Now, when Mercury sits in the heart of the Sun, it strengthens Mercury's communication abilities. So I love this for you because you're going back over, what are my dreams? What are my goals? Who do I network with? Who do I align myself with? What do I really want to do? What are my wishes? What are my aspirations? These are things that I want to do, and now I'm having to rethink them. And I had this idea, but now I'm kind of changing my thoughts. And so now that you have this cazimi, Mercury's communication abilities, they expect these messages, downloads, dreams, innovative information in a variety of ways. This could be through networks of people that you're in groups with. This could be through people of authority. This could be through symbols, finding a penny, a feather, spirit animals. And so during this cazimi, it's also going to be a turning point in your retrograde story, because I want you to focus on topics, conversations, and people that you come in contact with, because on this date, this could lead to a breakthrough for later. You know how sometimes you have the synchronicity of you meet someone, or you hear something, or you do something, and you don't find out until much later that it was that one pivotal moment that changed everything. Well, this can be one of those dates. And then the very next day, we have Mercury stationing retrograde going back into your 10th house of your career, your job, your life path, your public life, authority figures. The 10th house is what you want to achieve, your professional life, your ambitions, your reputation. It's also the legacy of what you want to leave behind. It's pretty important. It's at the top of your chart. And so when Mercury moves back into the sign of Sagittarius, it immediately enters into a prolonged square with foggy Neptune. Neptune, that happens to be in your first house of self. Who are you? How do you identify with, how do people see you, your demeanor, your identity, your image, your appearance, your habits? A square is a tension point. A square causes conflict because these two planets need to be integrated with conscious effort and hard work. And so there's something about the way that you're communicating in the outside world, or how people see you in the public, or with your career, your job, and with who you really are at home, or realistically as yourself, your own identity. Now, during this portion of the retrograde, it may feel like things are like off key or wonky because you're just not thinking clearly. At this point of Mercury's retrograde, it's going to be a time for you to review your recent projects and your occurrences, and assess where you maybe have gotten ahead of yourself at work, because Neptune is making things unclear. It is making things foggy for you. Now, having first moved through Sagittarius, when Mercury first went through Sagittarius, it was you focusing on your public life, your career path, authority figures, and these were your goals. This is what you wanted to do. Now, when it first moved through the sign, it squared Neptune, and there were these difficulties. But now it's about you maybe you bit off more than you can chew. Maybe this is not sustainable. This is not really what you wanted. And so now you need to reflect on significant events or communications that you've had with others, or projects that you've started, looking for this fresh perspective. This retrograde shift is going to really provide you with some invaluable opportunity to meticulously scrutinize your projects, your endeavors, authority figures, and strategize more deliberately in your path to move forward with something that's more sustainable for your career, your job, your legacy, or how you want to be seen or known for your public reputation in the outside world. And then we move forward to the 27th. So on the the 27th, the 27th, now we have Mars conjoined with Mercury. Now, you know all this confusion is going on, and it has to do with you, your identity, and how people see you, and authority figures in your work and your career. And now we throw Mars in. Remember that Mars is the warrior. It's hot, it's fiery, it's impulsive, thinks, it does, but then it thinks. And so this is hot communication. This is where you don't have all the information and you just jump forward. You move forward and you're not using caution. You are hitting that send button. You are going straight to the manager. You are sending off things without thinking. You are speaking without pausing. And so if you have to move forward with something, please make sure that you read, you understand the details, triple check anything of importance before signing off or pushing that send button or leaving that voicemail message. With Mercury square Neptune, it's really best that you put off important decisions and projects until after Mercury stations direct and moves back into the sign of Capricorn. So Pisces, I would love to hear about how this resonates with you in the comments below. For more, please check out my monthly astrology forecasts and the videos on other transits. I invite you to join me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I offer new moon and full moon astrology consultations. For a private reading, you can schedule at willowgraceastrology.com. And to get updates as soon as they're released, please subscribe.